Guys, welcome back to Medical Coding with Blue. Today's episode is all about the best kept secrets in how to study for medical billing and coding. If you're brand new to my channel, welcome. I am Blue. I'm a medical coder. Okay, guys. So now that I have enticed you with this title, I have done this video several times. I've broken down how to study and the independent study list and the breakdown, but I figured maybe saying that it's a secret will get y'all to pay attention to this one. So I have been getting this question a lot. Blue, how do I study for medical billing and coding? I got this very comment, so I'm going to read the comment and then we're going to get into it. So here we go. The comment says, thank you to the viewer who made the comment. I've been coding for 10 years without certification. Now it's a demand after the pandemic for me. I was on unemployment and then went back to being a medical assistant. I took the CPC exam and I failed it with a score of 50%. I'm trying again and I'm emotional when studying. Not sure why trying, and trying is in big letters, to pass. I'm 55. Help, what is the best way to study? First of all, you're in a big group of people who are over the age of 50 who are getting into medical coding for the very first time. And I have plenty of people in my audience who start in their mid-50s as a medical coder and they make a very successful career out of it. Okay, that's the first one. The second one, I have so many videos on my channel about the independent study list and study tips and how to study and things like that. But I want people to think about this. When you are saying, I'm getting emotional, why am I even trying? And trying is in big letters. Why am I even trying? Why are you trying? Okay? If you don't understand why you're trying, and if you're sitting here questioning yourself, and then you're getting stuck into that emotional vacuum of, why am I doing this? I can't get this, and I failed with this much percent, and I did this, and I did that, and all of a sudden, what are you not doing? Studying. What are you not doing? You're not making moves towards your goals. You want to sit here in this emotional puddle and just feel sorry for yourself because, where do I start? Where do I start? This is a secret, guys. Are you ready? Because I'm going to tell you right now. Practice. You practice with your books. I have talked about this a lot on my channel, all the books that I recommend for medical billing and coding, but it starts with the manuals. You got to have good manuals. That's another secret. You have to have really good manuals when you're learning medical billing and coding. If you get the Optum coding books, and I will leave a link for Optum in the description box below, but if you get the Optum coding books, they're for your ICD-10-CM and your ICD-10-PCS, if you are taking a test that covers ICD-10-PCS. If you're not, don't worry about it, but at least get the ICD-10-CM book from them, obviously, and the HCPCS Level 2 book. Now, the reason that I suggest those two, if you're taking like the CPC, is because in the ICD-10-CM book, it does give you, before every section, there is like scenarios, there's the answers, and there's a rationale for every single section. So this gives you practice. If you go through and you cover up those answers and you work them out in the book, then that's going to help you to become a stronger coder. And I challenge you guys to work through the entire sections of the ICD-10-CM book from Optum that have those practice scenarios, so that way you can get all of your practice, because it's like 20 some sections says 20 questions or 20 scenarios. Some of it is like 10 or 15. So it really all depends on the section. But the more practice that you get, and actually practicing like you with the book, not you with these silly tabbing methods, highlighting, circling, writing notes methods, not any of that, because all of those things take time. Those are time wasters. You're wasting time. You're not really being deliberate with your study time. You are doing something that is putting the training wheels on and not really going to help you in the long run. The people who listen when I advise to go through the Optum book and work through those so that you have practice throughout the whole book is giving you a couple of things. Practice with the book and being more comfortable using the book. A lot of people are not comfortable using the books. They want to sit here and complain, oh, the books are so big and I don't like them and I this. This is the field that you're getting into, guys. This is the field that you're getting into. We use books. And if you don't like books, this may not be the field for you. Now, you don't have to love them, but you do have to use them when you are taking your exams. You cannot use the encoder, okay? And all of these exams are timed exams. Now, this lady didn't tell me why she failed, if it was that she just was rushing or she just was uncomfortable with her book, which is possible after being in the field for 10 years and then you try to take a test with books and you've been so used to the encoder. I know because I spent many years with the encoder and I lost my speed, which really upset me because I was just like, you know, I do coding every single day. But when I took my when I took my CCSP exam, you know, I was like, okay, I had been practicing, so I was happy for that. But it still wasn't as fast as I was when I very first started, you know. I did manage to pass. It passed very well. So I was very happy about that. But at the same time, I knew I had lost my speed. And I knew when I was going to take my CCS exam that I was really going to have to work on that speed. And so that's why, and if you're taking the CCS, or even if you're taking the CCA or the CIC, and you need that ICD-10 PCS book, what I did was in the back of that book, there's Appendix M, like in Mary, and it has 2 sections. It has lists of hundreds of procedures to look up. And then it also has all of the answers. So that's what I did. I looked up all of the procedures in the back of that book and I looked up the answers. So that way I had practice with that book. I was more comfortable with that book. So when I went to go take my CCS exam, I knew where everything was in the book. A lot of people panic because they say, well, I got in there and I forgot where everything was and I just panicked. Why are you panicking when the whole time you could have been practicing with your book, practicing looking up the codes? And even if you don't feel like reading, because I always recommend to read another secret, guys, I recommend reading the ICD-10 CM coding guidelines in their entirety once per week. And why do I recommend that? Because it makes you a faster reader. Now, you may not understand what it means, and that's understandable because you've never been a coder before, or maybe you have, and you just never have gotten that intensive in it. But the thing that it does is it puts it into your brain. Your brain is recording everything, and it has those memories that it's locking away. So the more you repeat it, the more your brain is going to be like, okay, we recognize this. I've seen this before. And so you're going to be able to get through it much quicker. It's going to be slow at first, but you're going to pick up speed with time. But when you're doing that, you're putting that into your brain so that when you are in the test and you need to reference back to like, what are the rules about sepsis? What are the rules about sequencing? What are the rules about injuries? What are the rules about this or that? You know, you'll be able to say, okay, I know where to go in the guidelines. You're not going to be dependent upon, oh, well, I was highlighting and writing all these notes. You will not have time to read notes in your books if you're writing in them. I always tell you guys, don't write, don't tab, don't highlight, because this is a reference book and you need it to be as clean as possible. If you are taking the time to practice and read all of the notes in between, like you should, because I also recommend that you take a Saturday and literally sit down with your book, open it up, and look at every single page. Now, what that's going to do is you're not going to read everything, but what it's going to do is it's going to familiarize you with the sections. And again, it's going to make it much more quicker for you to know where to go in the book. You need to know where to find the modifiers. Boom, you know right where to go. You know where that appendix is at. And you've taken the time to know what the appendixes have in them, because the appendixes will help you, all right? And there's also anatomy plates in the back, so you don't have to burden yourself with, oh my gosh, I gotta memorize everything. These are open book tests. So your best way to prepare for these open book tests is to spend the time to get to know your books and to get to the practices, really, because the more you practice looking up codes, the better off you'll be, because then you're going to get faster. It's the people who are looking for those shortcuts and who want to say, oh, how can I crack this exam? I hate that. I can't stand when I hear people say, I'm going to crack the exam. It's not a peanut. You know what I mean? Like it is a test. It's not a peanut that you can, oh, I'm going to crack the shell. Come on, guys. Really? So what I'm saying is the more time that you spend practicing, the better off you'll be. You know, we've all heard practice makes perfect. Literally, practice makes perfect. And when you sit there and you go through those things, you're going to get faster with looking up codes. You're going to get more confident, because the more of these codes you get correct, the better off you'll be. Now, I do recommend the ICD-10-CM and ICD-10-PCS coding handbook with the answers. All of the links to all of the books that I recommend are in the description box of every single one of my videos. And with this, the ICD-10-CM and ICD-10-PCS coding handbook with the answers, the one that I had been recommending is the 2019 version. You do not have to get that, because it is no longer a good deal like it once was. I used to be able to find it for $30. Now I can't find it for less than $140. So if you can find a 2020 version, a 2021 version, 2022, these are all going to be cheaper than the current year version of that book. And you want to get the one with the answers, because it does not make sense to get the one without the answers. How will you ever know if you got the answers correct or not? And I've had people who complain, who say, well, the answers are right there. Cover them up. Use a sticky note and just put it right on top of it, and that way you can cover all of the answers so that you don't have to see them. All right? It's a matter of using the book to practice with. If you're going to sit here and nitpick about the way that the book is designed, really, then you're not trying to concentrate on what you're supposed to be doing, which is looking up the codes. And it's just as simple to cover it up with a paper or cover it up with a sticky note, so that way you can see if you got the correct answer or not, guys. It's that simple. It's not a difficult process. It's not something that is so complicated that you can't figure it out. It's literally taking the time to get that practice in. And you need 20 hours per week. I talk about the 20 hours per week all the time, and people will immediately tell me, well, Blue, no, I work a 40-hour-a-week job, and, you know, I have a family and kids, and I just can't do that. This is your dream. This is your goal. This is what you want to do. So if you don't make the time for your goal, if you don't make the time to prioritize learning medical billing and coding, because we have to know what doctors know while never having gone to medical school. And if you don't make that time to prioritize that, you will not get to where you want to go. And even if you manage to slide on by and be like, oh, well, I passed my test and I got a job. Do you really understand what you're doing if you haven't taken the time to really fully grasp everything? Are you just there pushing through whatever they're saying that they did, and then you're just like, okay, that's good enough for me? Then that's wrong as well, because when you do something like that, you are not holding up the ethical standards that we all have to follow, which is that you will code properly, and that if a code that is pre-selected before it gets to you is incorrect, then you need to look for the correct code and apply the correct code. That's what we do as medical coders. It's not where, oh, the provider selects this code, this is what he wants, this is what he's going to get, or she wants what she wants and that's what she's going to get. No, it is based on what is in the documentation, what is supportive in the documentation. If it is not supporting and there's another code that is more specific to what is happening in that documentation, then that's the code that needs to be picked up. But that's why we have jobs, guys, because we are the ones who are supposed to maintain all of the accuracy in the code selections. Doctors and other providers, surgeons, NPs, PAs, all of them, they are not meant to be medical coders. We are. We are meant to be medical coders. And what we do is very, very important, because we have a skill and we have a thing that no artificial intelligence will ever have, which is critical thinking. So I'm just saying, I want you guys to think about this. For all of you who are hemming and hawing about, oh, well, what if our AI takes up? They've been threatening this for years. For years. And again, the one thing that they can't beat us on is critical thinking. But if we stop critical thinking and we stop having the attention spans that we need to have in order to do this, because so many people are getting shorter and shorter attention spans. I think that's why a lot of times people keep asking me the same question, because they want me to do these little short, little ticky-tock type things. Oh, no. That's not what we do here on my channel. If you want to be serious about medical billing and coding, then we can talk. I'm the one who explains things in detail, not 60 seconds to explain the entire field of medical billing and coding. It is impossible. I will not do it, and you will not catch me on these other websites that do that little short ticky-talk stuff. No, I don't think so. Because again, I'm not going to contribute to a society that's already getting a shorter and shorter attention span. Y'all need to protect your attention spans. If you are hooked on that ticky-talk thing, you need to think about that, because again, it's that hit of dopamine that you get for those little short clips that you're not getting the beginning, the middle, and the end. You need to be able to have that. You need to be able to have that so that your brain can process all the scenarios and the possible things that could happen, instead of just getting to the point. If you keep doing that, then all the things that are being put in front of you, that's what you're going to accept, right? You're going to stop critical thinking. And when you stop critical thinking, that's when all this thing is going to be crazy. So that's what I'm telling y'all. You need to protect your attention span. You need to make sure that you're studying. And I always recommend the old-fashioned way, which is actually spending the time with the books and not sitting here trying to look for the shortcuts. What are the easy ways? What are the apps? I don't do apps. I never have, never will. I don't do apps because I don't think that that's going to be very helpful. I'm sure there are helpful ones out there, but it's not going to be helpful for you in the long run. Okay, those are things that are very temporary band-aids. If you learn the slow way, like one of my favorite YouTubers, Rick, from his channel, Think Like a Horse. He was a cop, and he worked for the military and things like that. He was a soldier, and so the thing about it is he learned it because he was an instructor. So he always says the slow way is the fast way. If you learn all of your fundamentals, it's going to be a lot easier for you in the long run, rather than trying to learn really fast and then you make mistakes and then everything goes haywire. Don't do that, guys. Don't try to learn fast. Not with something as important as this. It is going to be your foundational knowledge first that you're going to learn. A big secret, guys. Secret reveal. You got to learn your medical terminology, your anatomy, and your pathophysiology. You have to understand that. You don't have to know everything in detail, but you at least need to know the basics. You need to know about the bones. You need to know where they are, the muscles and the organs. Get your base foundation of anatomy. There's still anatomy plates in the books as well. So that's what I'm saying. You don't have to crowd your brain with so many things that you're trying to memorize and you're trying to be overwhelmed about it. It's not that. You're going to work to build these things. When we were in school and we were children, the teacher had the border around the room with the letters and the numbers. It is the same thing that you have to do when you're learning this. But again, guys, if you're going to sit here and allow your emotions to control you and to guide what you do, that's going to set you up to fail. Okay, so make sure that you are taking the time to focus on the books. And if you say, well, I don't feel like reading, but I want to work through these word problems or these looking up these codes. On my Patreon channel, I have like quizzes that I post on my Patreon channel. Patreon, if you don't know, is a lot like YouTube, except you pay to support the creator, which would be me. The minimum pledge is $10 per month. And what I do is I put quizzes on there, and then you're able to look up the codes and things like that. And I always tell my people that I always push y'all looking up the codes individually rather than giving a bunch of scenarios. Because when you do a bunch of scenarios to brand new people who don't know how to look up codes or even spot the codes in the first place, it's setting them up to fail. But if you take the time to practice with the, the looking up the codes, just, okay, what is this code? What is this code? What is this code? If you take the time to look those up, that's going to get you more familiar. So that way, when you're looking at the documentation, you'll be able to spot them much more quickly. So that's the thing that I'm going to say there. And, I think it's helped my patrons, I think. We also have a once a month study hall that is live, and we do a Zoom, and so everybody's just there and we chat and I answer questions about coding or whatever industry questions that they want. And I think it's a fun thing. So we had it on a Thursday this past month, which was last week on Thursday, and my patrons liked it. I think it was a lot of fun. There was a lot of people there. So again, I'm going to be doing that again for the month of August. So if you're interested, the link to my Patreon channel is in the description box below. When you sign up, you get access to all of the quizzes and puzzles and games that I've posted. So I think it's a good deal. So anyway, but yes, those are things that you can do to practice and make sure that you are getting that sufficient practice in. 20 hours per week is not a lot, especially if you are working a full-time 40-hour-a-week job. You can do it. 30 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes at lunchtime, 30 minutes in the afternoon on the drive home. You could be listening to something. That's study time. Listening, watching a video, or working through workbook. These are all ways of studying. But if you're driving, you can listen. You can listen to the guidelines. You can listen to other like anatomy channels that are just talking these things through, or medical terminology channels, whatever you want to listen to. There is a plethora of them on YouTube. Okay, guys, just let your fingers do the walking. And 30 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes at lunchtime, 30 minutes in the afternoon, 1 hour once you get home and you get the kids settled and all this other stuff, and you can work on your workbook for 1 hour, take a break, 15 minutes to 30 minutes, and then go another hour, and you've already put 3.5 hours in one day of study without any impact to anything else. Because if you all have the time to sit there and go through Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, or, well, except for watching my channel, but if you have the time to do these TikTok things, if you have all that time to do that, you have time to study. You have time to study, you do, or look over something. So 3.5 hours a day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, that's 17.5 hours you've managed to squirrel in of study. That's a lot, right? That's more than what a lot of people were thinking was even possible. But it is possible. And then all you have is 2.5 hours on the weekend. So you can do that on a Saturday, or you can do it on a Sunday, whichever one you want to. And then you have the rest of the time to be with your family. You have the rest of the time to do all the things, TikTok or whatever you want to do. You have all that time to do all that stuff. And with no impact to anything else that you're doing. And you have time to rest. And your brain has time to rest. But this is going to be a priority if you make it a priority. No one else can make you do what you are going to do or what you're not going to do. Okay. And the other thing that I'm going to say before I wrap this up, it's not a waste of time for you to study. It's not. It's going to benefit you. If you don't understand something, put a pin in it and come back to it. Don't sit here and spin your wheels about it. Don't sit here and try to say, oh my gosh, I'll never get this. I'll never get this. The more you tell yourself you're not going to get it, the more your brain's going to be like, okay, we won't get it. We don't understand this. We're not going to understand this. But the more positive that you can be, like, I don't understand this yet, but I'm going to get it. I'm going to get this. I'm going to get this. If you need to hire a tutor, there's a ton of tutors on LinkedIn. I'm a tutor myself. My rate and contact information is in the description box below. However, I will not be available for sessions until after August the 15th, 2023. So if you are interested in getting in the calendar, let me know. But just know that I will not be taking any sessions until after August the 15th. Okay. So that is my message for today, guys. It's not hard. It is not hard. Just working with the books, working with the workbooks, and the CPC study guide is a great study guide. Even if you're taking a CCA, CCS, or CCSP exam, because we all use the same CPT manual, and AAPC did a fantastic job with that book. I'll give it to them. I'm not with AAPC. This is not an ad for them, but they did really good on that book, I think. You know, and it incorporates everything, anatomy, medical terminology, and all that good stuff. So it's a great book to study if you want to practice with those diagnosis codes. Again, the ICD-10-CM and ICD-10-PCS coding handbook with the answers is the way to go. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. Guys, stay with it. If this is what you want to do, quit focusing on your feelings. Quit focusing on how you feel. Just get in there and do it. Just get in there and practice. And when it does make you feel like you're going low, just remember why you're doing this. Just remember what you're getting into it for. And that should give you that energy to keep going. Because yes, you can do it. And don't quit. Don't quit before you get over on the other side. I'm just saying. So with that said, I'm going to wrap this one up. Thank you guys so much for joining me. If this video helped you, please like, subscribe, and share. And I will see y'all next time. Bye.